Hi everyone and welcome along. Today we're going to paint that extremely cheerful coastal bird, the puffin. So grab your paints and let's get started. Okay, so we're going to paint some puffins. We're going to paint the Atlantic puffin, which is the sort of classic one that I know. I'm wondering actually if these birds are familiar to everyone who watches. If not, just enjoy, and this bird is so cool and really iconic, at least over in the UK and Europe. So we're going to start with a sort of potatoey egg shape for the body and the torso. Okay, and then coming up across the spine, we're going to create a head, another sort of lumpy rounded shape, and then over the head down we come and into this incredible beak. And from there we can start to sort of shape the rest of the body. So down the torso and the breast, then we can get a leg, one leg, and another. Lovely big orange webbed feet. And then follow that line around there. A lovely little tail. And a little tail there. And we'll paint another one. So we'll have one just standing in a slightly different pose. Pop them on a rock, I think. This one maybe having a little look downwards to see if he's going to fly off. And this one sitting back a little bit, so he's a little bit more sort of squat. The legs are always really much farther back than you think they are. Okay, and then puffins have a black head and wings and tail, but they have white chests, so I'll just mark that out there. Down comes the side. I'm doing quite a lot of drawing for this one just because I know that a lot of you enjoy a bit of a drawing guide before we start painting. But once we do paint, I'll be really rubbing out that pencil quite faintly. And then they have very striking faces, so they have a large white section on the head there. And beautiful very sort of empathetic eyes. So there's a sort of crease in the face, then a little U-shape, sort of a curve for the eye, and then a very sort of lovely eyelid there that kind of comes down and really gives them a lovely soft, caring kind of look. So anyway, that's how we're going to begin. I'm going to now lightly rub out the pencil. I think we're going to give them a bit of a rock to stand on as well. There we go. I'll finish off his feet there. So we're going to lightly rub all this out and then get painting. So I'm lightly rubbing that out to really remove a lot of the pencil, and that is one of the key parts of how I managed to get rid of my pencil lines even once I've painted over, because I rub out the bulk of it. I use a kneadable eraser, this one's by Faber-Castell. Episode notes have got the link, but that's all I need that for now. And now we can start painting. So I have just mixed up in advance this very, very dilute shadow mix, which has got burnt sienna, Paynes Grey, and just a touch of yellow ochre in it. And I'm going to use my size 0 brush to paint the white sort of chests and tummies of these puffins. So what I'm doing is I'm just beginning by sort of stroking the outlines, creating a bit of sort of shade on what is seemingly white, and just sort of by using my brush sort of in this sort of curving stroke, I'm just helping sort of create a sense of the roundness of the body. So we'll do this again on this one, starting underneath, and then of course there's that leg there. If you are enjoying something a bit different, like today where we're painting birds instead of flowers, then you will absolutely love my second book, Birds, Bees and Blossoms. The clue is in the title there. We paint lots of animals, lots of birds, insects as well. They're absolutely wonderful to paint. The kind of thing that I don't always get the time to do on YouTube, because sometimes you want to take a bit more time to paint things like that, to just really learn these skills. So yeah, have a look at Birds, Bees and Blossoms. Episode notes have got the links to all my shops, and you can get a signed copy from my own website and my Etsy. So here we've got the white section of the top of the head as well. So I'm definitely leaving some unpainted space, but in using this diluted grey tone, we're building up a lovely sort of a lovely texture on the body. Now the rest of the puffin is black. I'm going to just allow the bird's sort of whiteness to dry first, and in the meantime I thought, why don't we paint the rock for a minute, because that can always be quite a fun prospect of getting a load of sort of shadowy tones together. So I've got burnt sienna, Paynes Grey, I've just put a bit of French ultramarine, a bit of Mars black in there. I've got a nice big brush, a size 4, and I'm just going to sort of dab the brush about a bit, allowing for some mixtures to occur, some blends to happen on the rock itself with the different colours. This is always a really fun little exercise if you've never really had a go at painting in a sort of a natural texture. It's just to allow the watercolour and the unpainted space to all sort of bleed in a wet mix together. And then just adding more water and allowing all the bleeds and blends to just get stuck in together. And even with the size 4 brush, you can get around the edge of the puffin really nicely, and just keep cleaning your brush off with using more water, dropping in new colours, and as it dries you'll just get something really lovely to contrast with the birds. Okay, our rock is looking wonderful and blended in all kinds of watercolours, and now we're going to paint the black feathers of the puffin. Now I always like to make sure there are a range of tones going on, even with a colour as dark as black. So I've got Paynes Grey and Mars black, and I've got my size 0 brush, which I'm going to begin with, and I'm going to start by painting in the back of the bird and just angling my brush strokes to follow the line of the feathers. So we've got this sort of rather clear line of where white meets black on the bird, but if you look closely, if you check a photo out, you'll be able to see little tufts of feathers. And so that's how I'm going to do it, by just using little brush strokes. And this gives the impression that the white feathers are sort of petering out and the black feathers are just starting. And I'm also just using a clean wet brush to spread the colour that's already on there, as well as picking up a bit of Paynes Grey at times. So as you can see, there's just so much more to painting what is seemingly a black coat of fur or feathers. And I don't know if it's coincidence or just the fact that I really like sort of this type of challenge. In the book Birds, Bees and Blossoms, we've got loads of really great examples where this is a useful skill. We've got a toucan, we've got a penguin, we've got lots of animals where this is a really useful skill to have. And then it does get a lot smoother up over the head. And as we reach the beak, what happens is the colour, the black colour actually fades. So I've cleaned my brush right off and I'm just stretching that colour forward so that it turns into a much paler grey. Right, we'll get the other bird done and then carry on. We've done the monochrome and now it's time for the bright splashes of colour. So I've mixed up Cadmium Orange, Cadmium Red and Cadmium Yellow in my palette. I'm going to begin with the feet and the legs. So I've got Cadmium Orange here and a size 0 brush, and I'm just sort of coming down one side of the foot. There's a sort of bulbous bit at the top of the leg there. And then the webbed feet. So I'm doing this to make sure that I'm going to get a bit of interest and shaping on this leg. And now I'm going to add a little bit of red into the blend. I'm going to let that just sit and I'll put in the other orange leg and foot. And now, cleaning my brush off, I'm just going to blend it a little bit. And what we'll do is when that's dried, we will be coming back to add in a bit more detail. So a little bit of red in with the orange. Let it just settle in for a minute. Pop in the other one. And then up here, the beak is the rather iconic part of the puffin. I am just going to draw in a line where the beak joins, just to give us a bit of help. The lightest colour in here is we've got a yellowy orange, so I'll just mix a bit of cadmium yellow and cadmium orange together, and I'm going to paint in that colour all over the beak, because that's the lightest colour first, which means we can layer up on top of it. So I've got this really diluted The other colour I can paint in is the eye colour, whilst we're just waiting for everything to dry. So a mixture of cadmium orange, cadmium red, quite dilute again, and I'm just going to paint that all in there. Okay, we're going to let things dry and come back and add the final details. I've got my smallest brush, my 4/10 brush now, and I'm going to start adding the detail onto the beaks. So the puffin has this amazing sort of multicoloured beak. I've got cadmium red here, and I am painting in some curves down the beak. And then meeting them up the beak as well. It's quite nice when you've got two, that you can sort of do one and then repeat yourself. Then we've got a little bit of a sort of yellowy orange streak where the bill meets the face, and a little sort of orange blob there. And then we've got a really dark patch, but sort of got a slightly blue tone to it, so my Paynes Grey is absolutely perfect for this bit. So I'm going to fill in this gap, leaving a little bit of yellow, outline. And then it's time to do the eye. So, as I said, they had this lovely sort of kind looking eyes, which I'm just using a bit of Mars Black to do a little bit on top and bottom. But then they've got a really large sort of pupil. So we'll do that again, so a little bit on the top of that little triangle, then a bit of sort of eyeliner along the bottom, and then a large black centre, And then just follow that little pencil line along. And now we can add a bit more detail to the feet. So I'm just mixing a bit of cadmium red with the orange. Just trying to sort of make the webs distinct from the rest of the feet. And now at this stage, it's all looking nice, but it's looking a little bit sort of one-dimensional, or two-dimensional maybe. But it's looking a bit flat. And so I'm going to return to the sort of shadowy colour I had for the feathers, and I'm going to come back in and paint in just a little bit more of it. Because when it's the first thing you paint, like, you want to establish it and sort of get those lighter colours in first, but then once you've painted all the other darker colours in, you actually come back and go, oh, actually, I think we need a bit more of this. And also, to help really sort of contour the face, can help also define that leg in the foreground. So these paintings of these birds, even the seemingly sort of fairly simple, not overtly detailed bird, it's all about building up layers and just enjoying the process, really. I can't stress enough how much I just really want you to enjoy the process and not worry too much about being perfect first time. I'm going to do a little line along the beak, and then also some little claws on the feet, just using the Mars Black sort of Paynes Grey mix that's been in the palette. So we sort of let it all dry a little bit, look over it, and this would be a perfect time to rub out the pencil just a little bit more. We can only see a little bit of it, and then come back for just a little bit more shadow. And there we have the pencil rubbed out, and the puffin's just looking a little lighter and brighter. And now I've got some Paynes Grey, size 2 brush, and I am just going to sort of create a bit of shadow on the rock where that penguin puffin, thank you. I can't believe that's the first time I've made that error. Maybe just a little bit more. about being a bit brave and popping on a bit more colour in those last moments. And also just adding a fraction more of the more concentrated Mars black. And there we have 2 puffins on a rock. Thanks so much for watching. I really hope you enjoyed that one. I want to say a huge thank you to my patrons for their support, because that support enables us to keep creating videos like these that everyone can enjoy. And if you enjoyed that one, then click the like button and comment below to let me know how you got on with it. And of course, if you never want to miss another video, then hit the subscribe button and the little notification bell and you'll never miss us. Okay, until next time, bye!